Good morning and welcome to Just Daf It. Today we're starting the last parak in Kesubos, Daf Kufhei, number 105, 13th parak. Very exciting. We'll be finishing, I guess, within a week. Exactly a week. This next parak talks about different dayanim in Yerushalayim after the Korban, because Mishnah is written after the Korban. And they had a machlokas, some big rabbanim, famous rabbanim, Gedolei Dor, machlokas with the majority, with the Chamim. We'll see if we paskin like. The Mishnah starts off, Shtei Daini in the bottom of Kuf Dalam and Beis, the last two lines, Shtei Daini Gzeros Yerushalayim. There are two judges that instituted Gzeros in Yerushalayim, Admon v'Chanan ben Avishalom. Admon was one. Admon v'Chanan ben Avishalom. Chanan Omer Shnei Dvarim. Chanan, the second judge, he said two chidushim, and the Chum argued on him. Admon Omer Shiva. Admon said seven. Mishahal Linas Hayam. So the first one is, which is relevant to our Masechta. A husband goes to the Caribbean. He goes away business. V'ishto Tavas Mazonos. He hasn't been home for a while. His wife demands mazonos, which is provided in the Kesuba. Chanan Omer. Tishaba b'sof v'lo tishaba b'tchila. When she comes to collect her ksuba at the end of their marriage, when he dies, they get divorced. So then she takes a shvua, not just that she didn't collect her ksuba, but also that she didn't take extra mazonos that she didn't need. Nechluk alab bnei kohanim gadol, and the son of the kohanim gadol, which basically Chachamim argued, Amru tishaba b'tchila b'sof. No, she has to take a shvua even when she, in the middle of her marriage, when she comes to collect those mazonos, that she doesn't have mazonos in the house, and she really needs them. Amar Bidosi ben Herkinus Kedivrayim. Bidosi ben Herkinus said, like the Chum. Amar Yochanan Zaki Yachman Chanan Tisha B'El B'Sov. Yochanan Zaki concurs with Chanan, and he says the shvua is only at the end, like a Gilgal shvua. Once she's taking a shvua back collecting the ksuba, in addition, we impose on her the shvuos of the mazonos. The Gemara says Reminu. Brisa, which says not like our Mishnah, Shlosha Dayanim Gzelos Hayu B'Shalayim. Right, there were three dayanim of theft, Gzelos Yerushalayim, Admon ben Gadai. That was the Admon our Mishnah. V'Chanan HaMitzri, V'Chanan ben Avishalom. We had another dayan, Chanan HaMitzri. So there's two questions from this Brisa. Kasha Tlas HaTrain. Our Mishnah says two. Here it says three. Kasha Gzelos HaGzelos. Our Mishnah says there are two people that made Gzeros, which are decrees. Gzelot, it says in this Brisa, talking about cases of theft. Whereas Mishnah, our Mishnah, which is a more prominent Mishnah than the Brisa, only listed the most important dayanim. Maybe there were other dayanim, but they're the most important one. However, the second differentiation between the Mishnah and the Brisa seems to be a problem. Amar of Nachman Bar Yitzchak, she goes in Gzeros al Gzelos. In addition to, we'll see, the machlokas they had with the Chamim, they also made a gzeros about gezelos, about case of theft, gedesanya. We have a brisa, kitma netia. Let's say a man's animal knocked down a person's young sapling. Sure, Yosi Omer goes to gzeros Yerushalayim. Omrim netia bas shnasa shtei kesef bas shnei shonim arba kesef. If they knock down a sapling that was 1 year old, you pay 2 kesef, 2 silver coins. If it was 2 years old, you pay 4 silver coins. If it was 3 years old, we don't know. It doesn't say. Guess it never happened. I guess it was too strong to be knocked down. V'reminahu, another problem, another brisa. This brisa says there was another dayan that was prominent. His name was Nachum. Amar Rav Papa Mantana Nachum. Who is the brisa that mentions Nachum? Reb Nassan here. It's a yachid. It's Reb Nassan's opinion. Reb Nassan Omer Af Nachum Amadai. He was also one of the people that make Yerushalayim. And the Chamim didn't agree to him. But that's an opinion of Yachid. Our Mishnah follows most Tanaim who don't list Nachum as being a prominent judge. With Suleika, there was no other judges. At that time, I guess we're talking around 200 AD or something like that in Israel. Right? The Jews had a government there, but they also had, they weren't the majority. It was a Roman state at that point. So they had certain abilities. They had Yerushalayim, they had control over at least their courts over there. They had 394 courts. Hey, Yerushalayim Kenegdan Beit Knesios. He thought 394 courts was a lot. They had 394 shuls in Yerushalayim. I don't even think they have that many today. Kenegdan Bate Midrashos. They also had 394 base medrashes where people learn. Kenegdan Bate Sofrim, 394 schools. Dayan and Tuva. So my answer is Dayan and Tuva Havu. Really, there were a lot of judges. The Chi Kamrina goes to Gezeros Kamrina. What was unique about the two judges on Mishnah, they made Gezeros to make a new decree. Right, to take a chumrah upon yourself is a big thing, and these dayanim made additional takanas which are not found in the Torah or previous rabbanim. They made their own gzeros. That's why they're special. Amar Rav Yudah Marasi goes to gzeros Yerushalayim and noten skar and tishim v'teisha mana mitrumas halishka. How would they be paid? If you're a judge, right? I met someone yesterday who was a Toin Rabbani, basically a lawyer in a based in a Jewish court over here in Israel. 35 years old. I asked him, "Wow, you must be a big Torah scholar." And he said, "Not really. He didn't look like he learned too much." I said, "You gotta know at least Choshen Mishpat, monetary laws." I don't deal with that. I deal with marriages. I said, "What do you deal with? Divorces?" Yeah. So he only knows the halachas of Gerish, and maybe he learned Masechas Gittin very well. But if you want to be a dayan, you probably have to know all of Choshen Mishpat, and probably all of Eben Ezer, and it would probably be helpful to know the rest of Shulchan Aruch Yomi. If you want to become a dayan, or at least become familiar with what a dayan has to know, make sure to check out my Shulchan Aruch Yomi shir. Get it every day. We're going to be going through, hopefully, the entire Shulchan Aruch, all 4 halakim of the Shulchan Aruch. We've started Orach Chaim. We are already 100, and today will be 119. Orach Chaim 119 simanim. Should take about 6 years. So we're about 1/18 through of it. So we'll get next to Even Azer after Orach Chaim and then Choshen Mishpat, and then we'll conclude with Yardea. So the Gemara says they get paid 99 mana. So mana is $100. They get $9,900 a year, which was halishka from the Beis Hamikdash, or the funds that were given to Hekdesh at that time. Lo ratzu. Right? If they didn't want Mosifin Lahem, they felt it wasn't enough for them, you give them extra. Lo Ratzu, Ato Rishiaskina. What? They had enough money and they said, we still want more? Am I greedy? You're doing a public service over here, being Dayanim. Ella Lo Safku, it's talking about if they didn't have enough, they had big families. Afal Pi Shalo Ratzu, even if they didn't want to take extra money, Mosifin Lahem would give them extra money in order that they should have what to sustain their families. Karna have a shakil istira mizakai v'istira mechayev. Karna was a judge. He took a coin from a person who ended up being zakai, and the person ended up being chayev in a lawsuit. Right, one person, a civil lawsuit, presumably. He took a coin from each of them, a dayan lahudina, and he acted as their judge. How could he do this? You can't take a bribe. Maybe the Torah is only talking about he takes a bribe from one person. And the reason being, because he's going to pervert the judgment in favor of the person who gave him the money. Karna came on the Kashakum Tarvayu, but he took from both people, apparently the same amount of money, so there's no concern that he's going to favor one person or another. Nonetheless, it's still permissible. The Braisa says, you shouldn't take a bribe. What's the Chiddush of the Pasuk? Take a bribe, or presumably you're gonna make someone who's guilty and make them innocent, and someone who's innocent and make them guilty. You shouldn't do anything that will negatively affect the judgment in the wrong way, in the incorrect way. Even take shochad, where presumably you'll find the right person zakai and the right person chayav. Nonetheless, you shouldn't take a bribe, even if it's equal from both people. How do you mean the shakal b'taras shocha? The Gemara says Karna was allowed to do it. That's when you take it as a bribe. Karna b'taras agra have a shakal. He took it as payment for his services, because he's rendering services. So b'taras agra mishari, the Gemara contests that. Nonetheless, even to take it for a fee for your services, mishari, is that permissible? Asnan. The Mishnah says, this is a Mishnah in, where is the Mishnah? Kedushin. That's right, I found Bechoros also. I know those Karladin, Dina V'Talin, I think it's Mishnah Bechoros. He takes a fee in order to be acted the judge. There's Rav Yasha, I read the biography of Rav Yasha. Rav Yasha, obviously most of his life, Parnas was very difficult for him and his family. in a very small apartment. There was a significant part of his life where he needed extra parnasa, and he actually served on the Beis Din Agadol in Yerushalayim, which is the rabbinical court, which is actually approved by the state of Israel. Um, they believe that there is a rabbinical court that adjudicates cases of people who want their court cases to be decided by the Rabbanim. It's a paid position. He made a significant amount of money. So lots to see. The Gemara will explain how he's allowed to take money for that. So the Gemara, if you take schar to judge a case, not only are you not allowed to do it, but the judgment that you render is not considered a proper judgment, meaning it doesn't have any meaning. It's rendered meaningless. Hani mili agar dina karna agar betela have a shakel. So this is probably the explanation. He took money because he could have been doing something else. Schar betela, right? If I wasn't employed as a dayan, I could be, reaping in money through my real estate portfolio. But no, I don't have the time for real estate. I'm actively being a dayan. I'm doing public service. So maybe Rabbi Yashub was trading stocks. Maybe he had a real estate portfolio, and he gave up his time to become a dayan. So the Gemara says he took agar b'tela v'shakal, agar b'tela mishari, even to take money that because you could have been working and now you're not. Is that permissible? It's improper. It looks very bad for a dayan to take schar to judge it. Ela shadino din. Technically, if in this case, we'll see what it means. B'di'evet, his judgment is valid. Hey chidam ilei ma'agar dina. He's taking a fee for his services, probably a lot of money. Dino din, is that really true? Atanya notel schar la'adam dino b'din. We just said that it's batel. It's not even a good din. It's not even an effective judgment. Agar b'teila must be talking about where he took money, where he's sitting, because he's now unable to work. It's not a mechura dayan. It says it's improper. It's disgusting a dayan who does this. Hani mili b'teila de la muchacha. That's mechur. It doesn't look proper. Where it doesn't look like schar b'teila because maybe people don't know about your job, right? Karna b'teila de mucha v'shak. Really, Karna had another job, so it was evident to everybody that the reason he was taking money for his judgments is because he could have been doing something else. To have a toiba ambara dechamra v'yavile zuze. What was his job? His job was to smell vats of wine and to smell that they smelled good. They give him a zuz, $1 for that, for smelling vats of wine, and maybe they gave him some free bottles of wine. Like Rav Huna, when a judgment came in front of him, Amar Lahu Havuli. He was working a field, so he said, give someone to irrigate the field for me, because now I'll be a judge, I don't have time to do it, Becharika, in place of me, and then I'll make a judgment for you. See how blind the eyes are of people that take bribes. A person has an eye infection or a sickness, glaucoma, a problem is I know that Suffolk misrapi, Suffolk and misrapi. Maybe he'll be healed, maybe not. Hey, Nilton Shabbat Pruta. A dayan takes one pruta, Misamini Nayan, and that for sure blinds their eyes. Torah says that it'll blind your eyes, even of smart people. It says Shochad will blind the eyes of wise people. So the Bryce says Kol Shekain for stupid people. We saw Divrei Sadikim, and they'll corrupt the word of Sadikim. Certainly, if Rishayim. So the Gemara asks, Rishayim b'nei Dina, what's this Kal Vachomer, right? We're saying Kol Shekain if there were Rishayim or there were stupid people that are doing din. No one's going to hire a Rasha or a Tipesh to be a dayan. He is a big rabbi, a big smart person. He takes shochat. Nonetheless, his heart will be affected. We saw the Divrei Sadikim, I'll corrupt his heart. Saw Divrei Sadikim, top of Kofei Amud Beis, Afilu Tzadik Gomer, even if he's a complete tzaddik, a completely righteous person, like me, L'okeach shochad, and I would take a bribe. Eno niftar min ha'olam below tiruf das. Your mind would be confused at death. Kiasar of Dimi Amar Darash Rav Nachman Bar Kohen Ma'idich Siv Melech Mishpat Yam and Aretz Vish Trumos Yarsena. I think is the pasuk in Mishlei. A king through his mishpat, through his judgment, will sustain the land. A man who takes trumos, who takes gifts, will destroy it. And don't die la melech. Sheino Sarach L'Klum. If a judge is similar to a king has everything. He owns everything in the kingdom, right? He doesn't need any money. Yamid Aretz. So if he's the type of person that doesn't need any money, like I mentioned, Donald Trump said, he can't be bought. He couldn't be bought in his campaign. It was all self-funded, so he didn't have, right? He didn't have any bribery, anyone giving him money for his campaign, and therefore he didn't have to, wasn't indebted to any causes. He could be a fair and good president. Im Domadayin Lamelech Sheino Sarach Laklum. He doesn't need anything. Yamid Aretz. He'll sustain the land. Im Domadayin Kohen, if he's like a Kohen, Shemachajal Agranos, right? He's going to the granaries of people to collect his from people. He's dependent on other people giving him his sustenance. Yarsen, he'll destroy the world. Amar Rabba Bar Rav Sheila, Hai Dayan Deshal Sheilta, Apostle Lameidan Dina, someone who borrows, even a Dayan who's regularly borrowing. I mean, borrow one time, I don't think it's a problem. He normally regularly borrows, takes favors from people. He's puzzled because he's indebted to other people. It's only talking about he himself is not lending out to others. If he gives out to other people also. So quid pro quo, so then it is fair. I don't think that's the pshat over here. I think Islay lo shule means he doesn't need the thing he borrows. He borrows it just to give importance. He's an important person. He's borrowing from someone less important to give them importance. I think that's the correct meaning because, right? I think it's the wrong approach to life. Quid pro quo. I do a favor for you, do favors for me. That's not the way to live. You don't ask for favors. Like it says in Kesubos, shali. You don't say shali shalach shalach shali. That's the wrong way of saying it. You say shali shalach. Be a magnanimous person. I'll give to other people, but whatever belongs to me belongs to me. I don't take from other people. Not shalcha shali. I see this too often. People in the Haredi world, they think that, because money doesn't hold any importance, you just ask for chasadim for everyone. There's a note over here. I'll read it for you. They put a petek here in the small note. Avrich Talmid Chacham. Av 13 Yaladim Bli Ayin Hara. 13 kids he has. Shakoris Ma'ol Chovos. He's unburdened. Tremendous, debts he has. Sharobitz al Shechom and Ishpat al Shrim V'dichus Nora. Dachas Nora. They're depressed. The family has nothing to eat. Okay, it's Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Only the Hasi Beito. I don't know. His daughter is getting married. Now, what was he thinking that he had 13 children and he has no job? He's learning in Kollel. It says Avrich Talmid Chacham. He's still an Avrich. Now, he has 13 kids. Let's see. Apparently, he has a sixth son. 15,000 shekels for a month. That's a lot of money. It's like almost $5,000 a month. And of course it says Ator Misach 50 ulamala. If you give 50 shekel or more, nispalu ba'ado. I'll daven for you also, and I'm sure that's really effective. This Talmid Chacham decided that he's just going to keep on learning. He doesn't say that he even tried to work or that he plans to work. He's still planning on learning in the mirror and earning 1,000 shekel a month. But he decided, you know what? Oh, my kids are getting married now. Medical expenses. I mean, it's unfortunate that his son is sick and he needs medical expenses, but, a lot of families go through these things, but they have income. This person obviously just waited till he marries off his kids. I saw these signs all over the Mir Yeshiva when I was in Avrich in the Mir. Avrich Talmid Chacham, because he's a Talmid Chacham, so you give him money. Is living a life of favors. This is goes on. I saw all these signs and made it to Telstone. I never saw these signs coming to Telstone so much, but I guess it made it here also. This is the wrong way of living. I'm sorry. You don't Aroas Hanola. You see the Nola. You have 30. You decide to have 13 children. You have to find a way to pay for. The weddings, they're expensive here in Israel. You marry off daughters. If you want to get a good shidduch for your daughter, it can cost you an apartment. There's no way to get this money unless borrowing and asking for tzedakah. And the Gemara says taking from tzedakah is one of the worst things. So what are you gaining by learning and being an Avrich Talmid Chacham? You're doing a huge avera over here by taking from tzedakah and guaranteeing yourself that you're going to take from tzedakah. It's an unfortunate problem with Haredi society that no one really talks about. The Gemara says here, right? If you borrow, if you're someone who's always taking things from other people, I always see this Haredi people. They just, I have a next door neighbor who comes. The store is open. The Makola is right across the street. The grocery store is right across the street. It's open most of the time. They'll come. They'll borrow a cup of milk, a cup of eggs. So you come once a week, that's okay. But you come every night. Can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? It's ridiculous. I mean, go over to the Makola and buy yourself. Anyway, something that really bothers me. It says here, if you're taking favors from other people, right, you're puzzled from the din because you're indebted to them. I see this, right? People ask me for favors, and then they feel indebted to me. They can't say no. Things they reasonably wouldn't want me to do. They can't say no. It's true. Rava Shal Shilta Midbei Bar Marion. Rava borrowed something from the house of Bar Marion. Even though they didn't borrow from him. Like I said before, he was an important person by borrowing from them because he had the things. He just borrowed from them to give them importance. He didn't really need it. Amar Rava, my time with the Shochta came on the Kabbalah of the Shochta. What's the reason you can't take a bribe? Because once a person takes a bribe, right, it's a kira of das, right? You want to help the other person win in judgment. You're like his own body. You're one and the same, so a person doesn't see any bad about himself, right? I don't see any bad in myself. I'm sure there's negative things about me, probably not too many. But, it's very hard for people to see their own negative characteristics. So that's what happens to Shocha. My Shocha, what's the word? Shehu Chad. You become one. You become one person. Amar of Papa, lo leidan inish dina l'man derachim le, lo l'man desani le. Besides taking included in this of Shocha, I would guess, or maybe just this halacha is not with Shocha, but you shouldn't do a din for someone you love, a good friend of yours, and not for someone you hate. Derachim le l'chazi le'chova. If you love someone, you're not going to give validity to the negative arguments against him. The sunny le l'chazi le'schusa. If you hate him, you're not going to see any positive arguments. You're not going to see any merit in the positive arguments. Amar Abai, Hai Sumer Rabbanon, the Merachle B'nei Masa, if a rabbi, he's a rabbi of a shul, right? They love him in his town. La Mishum Damali Tfei. It's not because he's a great rabbi. It's because he's not giving them Musar, right? You're not giving them Musar. It's supposed to as a rabbi. Maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't say whether it's good to be loved or not good to be loved, but the reason that he's loved is he's not chastising them. Rava said I was popular. All people in my town, Mechuzah, they loved me. Came on to have a dina. Once I became a judge in my town. Some people like me. Some people don't like me. The ones who had judgments against them don't like me. Came on the chadi demand the mechayev lihaidna kazachi l'makar. But since it was frequent to have lawsuits, so the person that he acquitted today, he found guilty tomorrow. He found guilty today. He acquitted tomorrow. So therefore, Amina imarachim kula marachim. If the people like me, they all like me. Masanu kulu sanili. He wasn't sure. They hate me. They all hate me. Tanarabban of shachal osikach. Eno tzarich lomer shochad mamon. Of course, obviously, you shouldn't take financial bribe. Elafila shochad dvarim. Even a bribe of words or a bribe of action, we'll see. Betza means actual money. Don't take money. Shochad is a bribe. Bribe doesn't have to be literally money. What's considered shochad dvarim with words? Shmuel was ferrying over the Staten Island, I guess. He helped him on the boat. He gave him his hand. What are you doing? Dina Isli said, the reason I'm helping you is because I have a judgment with you. You're going to be my dayan. Because you helped me, you did this favor for me, I can no longer be a judge in your case. Remember how Yosef Kadani Dina was judging a case. Parach Gadfa Reshe, a certain bird, I guess, flew on his head. I said, articles, I think it says feather, I'm not sure. Also, Gavra the Shakle, a certain man shooed the feather or the bird away. What are you doing? I have a judgment. I can no longer be your judge. Someone spat in front of him. Asahu Gavra Kaske, a certain man felt bad for me, covered over the spit. What are you doing? I have a judgment. I can no longer be your judge. Or Ishmael Rabbi Yossi have a regular research of a mice they call Mali Shapsa, kin to the Piri. Right? Rabbi Yossi had a big field. He had sharecroppers that, worked the field and they took part of the crop, and the rest they gave to Reish Shmuel bar Yossi, who was the owner of the field. They usually brought him his fruits on Erev Shabbos. Yom Echad, one day I see they behave b'Shabbat. They bought on Thursday. I'm like, Maishna, I didn't know why you could bring it early. I'm like, Dina Isli, I have a judgment. Amina Agav Orche I see Lan Lamar. I have a judgment today. I want to judge my case. So I'm seeing you today, so I'll bring you the basket of fruits today. Lo kabel minay. He didn't take it from him in the basket. I'm like, it was a day early. I guess it was a tova that he was doing for him to give it a day early. I'm like, Pasion lach ladina. I can no longer be a dayan. Osiv Zuza. Osiv Zuza the Rabbanon, the Kadainin le Bahane. So instead, the guy got another two rabbinical scholars to judge his case. Bahad the Gazil Vahasi, when he was passing by Rosh Bar Yossi, Amar eat by Tain Hachi. He didn't say this literally, but he was saying to himself, wait a second, this guy, he has a great argument. He could make this argument. He could make this argument. Right? He was formulating ways for the guy to win, even though he didn't say it, apparently, according to the Gemara. Amar Tebach Nafshan, once he realized that he was looking out for the benefits of the person, that the sharecropper that brought him his fruits early, so he says, Tevach Nafshan Kabli Shochad, right? The bones of people that take bribes should be burst. I didn't even take the fruits. If I would have taken it, it's my own fruits. Certainly, if you take bribes, it interferes in the proper judgment. Another time, they brought him Reishis Hageth. Reishis Hageth is the first shearings of your sheep. When you have a lot of shearings, you bring it to a Kohen. Where are you from? He didn't recognize the person. I'm from this certain such a place, from the Galil. Right? He's in Yerushalayim. Why you coming away from the Galil? There was no Kohen to give it to. I'm really Dina Isli. No, I really have a judgment. I mean, I want you to be my judge, and I'll give you this also. I'm really Dina. I'm puzzled to be a dayan for it. He didn't even take the Reish Hageth. So the person gathered other rabbinical scholars to come judges in the case. They're judging the case from Hadi the Gazil Vasi. When he was leaving, he overheard the case. He said he has this taina, he has this taina. Once he realized that he was making up, he was trying to formulate different ways for this person to win the case. The souls or the bones of people that accept bribes should burst. I didn't even take the Reish, I guess. If I took it, I could have taken it. I'm a Kohen, I deserve it. Certainly, when you take bribes that you don't deserve, it's really bad. It ruins the judgment. A certain man brought him a basket full of fresh fish. What are you doing? I have a judgment. I'll read my dayan. Look, cover me. He didn't take it from him. Not only I'm not taking it, but I also can't be a dayan in your case. I'm like Dina Damar Lo Baina Kabula the cow. You don't want to be a judge. At least take it. Mar the Lolamana and Mar Mekrui Bikurim. Right? I want to be Makayim of Bikurim. We'll see in a second. Bikurim usually is 7 species of fruits in Eretz Yisrael. Fish is not one of them. The Sani Ish Ba Mibal Shlisha. Avayave Elisha Lokim. Someone brought Elisha and the Navi Lechem Bikurim, called it Lechem Bikurim. Esrim Lechem Saorim, 20 barley breads, Carmel Bisiklono, and some fresh flour in his bag. He was someone who ate Bikurim. He wasn't a Kohen, first of all, and he wasn't in Yerushalayim where Bikurim has to be eaten. The reason it calls it Bikurim is when you give a gift to a Talmud Chacham, it's like you're giving Bikurim. Here he was giving him the fresh fish, so that was like Bikurim. He says, I don't want to accept it. Originally, I didn't want to accept. Now that you're telling me the reason I should accept it, Mekablina, I'll accept it because it's like Bikurim. I'm Talmud Chacham. You're giving me a present. Shadre l'kamei de Rav Nachman. So Rav Anan sent this person to Rav Nachman in order to adjudicate his case. Shalchle nidayne mar lahai gabra. Give him a judgment. The Anan psilno le'ladina. I'm apostle for judgment. I'm remember the Shalchle hake. Rav Nachman inferred the fact that he sent him and he told him that I'm apostle to be a dayan. The reason he probably didn't want to be a dayan is because he's relative. You can't be a judge for your relative. Have a koyim dina diasme kameh. At the same time, he was judging the case of orphans. I guess what you should do with their property they inherited from their father. Amar high essay. The top of an olive. High essay, but high essay. There's an essay in mitzvah to have rachmanis to treat your someone properly, and there's also an essay of kavod Torah, of giving kavod to the Torah of Rav Anan, who was a big rabbi. Essay the kavod Torah adif, right? The mitzvah essay of giving kavod to the Torah. I don't know where this is in the Torah. I'll discuss it some other time. Is a greater mitzvah. Saki ladina the asma. So he put aside the judgment of the asomim, ladina, and he brought up the judgment of this relative of not relative. It wasn't a relative Rav Anan. The person Rav Anan sent to him came on the chaza baldina yakra the ka'avile. Once the opponent of him, of this person, realized that his opponent in the judgment was being honored, istatim tanase, he wasn't able to make proper claims in court because he realized this person was probably going to win. I don't know what the Gemara is inferring over here. Maybe he shouldn't have showed him honor or shouldn't have sent it to him. But the Gemara says nonetheless he wasn't able to make a taina, and presumably this guy won his case. That's conclusion of today's shir. Stay tuned for Enoch Ben Sion. We just discuss exactly what is the nature of lo sichach shochet and the real reason behind it. It applies even when both people give him equal money, and there's no question that you're going to favor one or the other. Why is there an issue of bribery even in that case? Stay tuned for Enoch Ben Sion coming up next.